Assalamu alaikum, my dear viewers. How are you? Hope you're fine and well in your life. Welcome back to my channel. My dear viewers, today I'm going to discuss a very interesting and heart-touching short story written by Saadat Hassan Manto, and that is Toba Tek Singh. So let's we start our topic. Toba Tek Singh is a short story written by Saadat Hassan Manto. Toba Tek Singh was actually written in Urdu and it was published in 1955. It's about the partition of India and Pakistan. It's one of the best short stories by Manto. Manto took the partition much serious as he wrote it. Here we can explore the theme of partition and its emotional and psychological effects upon the human psyche. Toba Tek Singh is basically an anti-partition short story. The main character or the protagonist is Bishan Singh, also known as Toba Tek Singh. Toba Tek Singh reveals the view of struggle for identity and the displacement of people painfully during the partition circumstance. Other partition writers also wrote well about the dark aspects of partition, like Bapsi Sidhwa, who wrote Ice Candy Man. Toba Tek Singh is a dark comedy and a satire as well. Its context is all about after partition circumstances. The setting is lunatic sizzling in Lahore. The story is about the exchange of lunatics, including Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, and Anglo Indians. The story set about 2 or 3 years after the partition in 1947. The Pakistani government and the Indian government decided to exchange lunatics. In a conference, it was decided by the government that the Muslim lunatics must be transferred to Pakistan and the Hindu and Sikh lunatics must be transferred to India, because it was as if I quote some lines from the text, it occurred to the government of India and Pakistan to exchange their lunatics in the same manner as they had exchanged their criminals. The Muslim lunatics in India were to be taken to Pakistan, and the Hindu and Sikh lunatics in Pakistan were to be taken to India. A Muslim lunatic who used to read the newspaper Zamindar written in Urdu at that time, he asked the other lunatic that what Pakistan was. The other replied, "Don't you know? A place in India known for manufacturing cutthroat razors." Likewise, a Sikh lunatic asked another Sikh, Sardarji, why are we being deported to India? We don't even know their language. The Sikh gave a knowing smile and said, "But I know the language of Hindu Torahs," he replied. "These bloody Indians, the way they strut about." Actually, the writer is criticizing the people of India and Pakistan. And actually, here the asylum is a mirror for the world outside it. Here, madness is a metaphor. And it shows us that the people who are talking about the partition are mad actually. And the world where partition is taking place is like a mental hospital. Okay. The writer is physically showing us reality and places satire on it. He makes satire on Hindus and Muslims, their religious beliefs, as well as their political visions. Afterwards, we observe a Muslim lunatic taking bath and yelling, "Pakistan Zindabad, Pakistan Zindabad," and then he slipped badly while bathing noisily. There was another mad who was confused about the topic what was Pakistan and what was India and why separate in such a way as not to understand what are those actually. He climbed up a tree and made noisy speeches about Pakistan and India and at last said, "I'm not to live in Pakistan or India. I have just decided that I have to live in this tree only." He had become more mad after hearing about partition of Pakistan and India. In the same asylum, Bishan Singh, the protagonist, is also talking to others. He always keeps on asking a question from others: where does Toba Tek Singh fall, either to India or to Pakistan? Or, in other words, we say that he asks other people, where is Toba Tek Singh? But nobody gives him the authentic answer. He didn't lay down to relax himself in the asylum. He had been standing erect on his feet for 15 years, and he has no thinking or feeling about his rest. One day, Fazaldeen came to see Bishan Singh at the asylum. Fazaldeen told him his daughter Roop Kaur, brothers Balbir Singh, Raghbir Singh, and his sister Amrit Kaur are quite well and want to know about his life and health. But Bishan Singh usually mutters a sentence that is, upper the gadgad the annex the bedhyana the moong di dal of the government of Pakistan. It's his usual muttering. During the conversation with Fazaldeen, when he was telling Bishan Singh about his family, Bishan Singh remained quite silent. And after some talkings of Fazaldeen, Bishan Singh only asked a single question: where Toba Tek Singh was. Fazaldeen answered, where? Why? Toba Tek Singh is where it always had been. But Bishan Singh considered it not a definite answer and went away muttering. After giving all the gifts given by Fazaldeen to the guard of the asylum, upper the gadgad the annex the bedhyana the moong the dal of the Pakistan and India durfitte mu. Saying this, he went away. When Bishan Singh was to hand it over to the Indian police at the border to exchange to the Indian country, he asked an official when he was to give his personal information to be registered under the record of asylum. He asked the official, where's Toba Tek Singh? In India or Pakistan? The official laughed loudly and answered, in Pakistan, of course. Bishan Singh ran back to his companions. The Pakistani guards caught hold of him and tried to push him across the line, but he didn't move. This is Toba Tek Singh, he announced. Uppar di, gadgad di, annex di, bedhyana di, moong di dal of Toba Tek Singh and Pakistan. Just before sunrise, Bishan Singh let out a horrible scream as everybody rushed towards him. He didn't move. He didn't even reply to anybody. He was just laying down silently. Now, the person who had not uh, been relaxing at the asylum throughout the 15 years and was just standing on his feet for 15 years with swollen feet and calves was now laying down on the ground. On one side, behind barbed wire, stood together the lunatics of India. On the other side, the lunatics of Pakistan. In between, on a bit of earth which had no name, lay Toba Tek Singh, where Bishan Singh was laying down. Here, the writer makes us realize that Toba Tek Singh, a place or a person, is nowhere exactly in India or Pakistan. It was just a place of solace for Bishan Singh, which was disturbed by the partition. The story leaves a question before us: is Bishan Singh insane or sane? It's up to us how we can answer it or solve this problem. I hope, my dear viewers, you have understood it well and it will help. It will be helpful for you in your further studies. With this, I pray for your success and please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like and share my this lecture as well. Keep smiling and be successful. Okay, Allah Hafiz.